Trade, security, revenue. How does the Nigeria Customs Service balance it all? Find out every Tuesday in the evening on Customs Duty, your ultimate guide to customs operations, trade facilitation, and national security. Join us as we break down customs policies, answer your questions, and bring you exclusive insights on customs operations. Stay informed, stay ahead. Customs Duty, every Tuesday at 6:30 in the evening, only on TVC.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers.
Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call permanent solutions.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe it's achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. Amadedoja Salamadinihi. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
For over 6 decades, the Bank of Industry, BOI, has been driving Nigeria's industrial development through financial and business support services.
Bank of Industry is one organization that has kept their words with the Nigerian businesses.
I have been able to expand my business from catering, event management, into water production.
A single digit that Bank of Industry offers is the only solution to stay afloat.
BOI Impact, now showing Tuesdays, 9:30 p.m. on TVC News.
Kolishashla Mandela was born into the Madiba clan on 18th July 1918. He got involved in politics in 1942 as he helped to form ANC Youth League. He was married to Evelyn Mays and they had 4 children. Mandela was arrested in a countrywide police swoop on 5th December 1956, which led to the 1956 treason trial. Before the end of the treason trial, he wrote to Prime Minister for vote to include a national convention on a non-racial constitution, and failure to adhere would resort to a national strike. In August, he was arrested and charged for leaving the country without a permit and inciting workers to strike. He was convicted and sentenced to 5 years.
Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folani. A bit of cheering news on the economic sector, but then it has to be explained. There's the headline, domestic forex inflow is at its highest in 6 years. So that is sounding like good news, but we'll take it apart and find out what exactly that means. And we have Mukhtar Mohammed, our stockbroking expert, stockbroker himself, and CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Oh, Mukhtar, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just so happy that you are here because you come and teach, because it can be quite arcane if you're not in that rarefied atmosphere. Because you're seeing all these, well, on one hand, encouraging percentages. If we are seeing that domestic sources account for 83.2%, which was a jump by 64.2% from 3.02 billion to 4.96 billion. It's highest in 6 years. I don't know what all of that means at all, but it sounds on the upward surge. So that sounds good.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, it sounds good. If you look at where we are coming from, we mostly depend on foreign inflow more than when you now begin to see domestic. And just like what is happening in the stock exchange, realize that we've seen a lot of stability in the market, in the stock exchange, because we have more Nigerians, whether retail or institutional investors of Nigeria. We've seen the stability, we've seen the kind of rally that domestic investors can bring to the market, which is good in the long term, because you see domestic investors seem to own the economy. And once domestic investors own the economy, what it does is that that panic in terms of when you have this shaking in external, you don't see it. But if foreigners are owning more, once they see that panic, your exchange rate volatility, lower oil price, then your market is in chaos.
When you're talking about domestic investors, investors in what? Who are domestic? Or in other words, Nigerians?
Nigerians. When you say domestic investors, I mean maybe Nigerians, people that are resident in Nigeria, that are investing in either the stock market, like when you talk about the stock market, talking about domestic investors, it's talking about Nigerians, either institutional investors, either high net investors, but they are domiciled here in Nigeria. So we are not looking like when you say foreign investors, foreign portfolio investors. If you look at that report also, you see there's a place for foreign portfolio investors, there's a place for foreign direct investors. So, but what we see when you hear domestic, that means it's largely driven by the locals. You and I, those are the people that are not driving the economy, which in the long term is good. That means you know, it's like charity begins at home. When you believe in your own economy, then you'll be able to attract more people into your economy. I think the good thing about that, when domestic investors are the one dominating your market and not dominating the FX space, is good. But again, in domination, how much of those inflow domestic investors be able to bring in so that you can stabilize your currency?
Okay.
That, for me, is the challenge that we are facing now.
And is it also related to, all of this is good news, but does the ordinary man, will he see any of this? Because this seems to be, because all the people cited in the report, well, some of the people cited in the report, you got the billionaire, the chief executive of BUA, you've got Dangote. These are the kind of names that are called. Does it impact the ordinary Nigerian? Because it seems like good news, but the ordinary Nigerian is saying he's hungry, aka Amechi, saying that, I don't know about you, but I am hungry. So
let us go to Amechi. He's hungry, but the venue was about 30 million. Now, why didn't he just give those money to the poor and let us know that he's really hungry? So those are political statements. I mean, I don't want to go into that. You're hungry. I don't know how hungry. Even what he was putting on doesn't look like somebody that was hungry. So maybe I think Wike answered him where he said maybe he's hungry for power. Maybe. So, but when you look at that, when you talk about Buhari, then you talk about Aliu Dangote, you realize that those are the key drivers of the Nigerian economy at the moment. But if it happened good for them, you know what they bring? That means more employment to the downtrodden Nigeria. That means they will employ more Nigerians if there's expansion in their businesses. For me, that is the positivity. But again, like you said, how does it trickle down to the poor of the poor? It only trickles down to them in the area of job creation, and then by job creation, it gets wealth. They'll be able to have wealth that they can put food on their table. But as it stands now, because of the gradual nature of this inflow, because of the gradual impact they have on the economy, you won't see that sprint. It's more or less like the economy is going through a marathon, whereby you tend to see it going slowly but steady. But we are not seeing that sprint. Now, for the sprint, you see it in the area of the rich. If you are a rich man, you've invested in the stock market, you've seen that sprint in terms of price appreciation, then you see the sprint. But for the poor of the poor, what they need is food. And then in that, again, you are seeing that gradually we are beginning to maintain stability in price. The price might not be what they were when they came in, but there's a little bit stability whereby it's not like sometime immediately came in when you buy a product today, tomorrow, the next day you go there, that product have jumped up by 10 or 15%. But we are now saying that you buy a product, after 1 month, that product could still be the same price, because we are beginning to see the impact gradually. But that drastic reduction, it will take a lot of time. That's why I say it's a marathon. As they
it's
keep
not
on,
a sprint.
It's not a sprint. As they keep on pushing in those policies that are going to have impact, because for now, the policies tend to be like from the up. It has not trickled you to the down. If you want any policy that would drive a lot of people out of poverty, you start from the down, up. Now, why is it like that? If you look at the floating of the naira, you look at the removal of subsidy, the impact is felt by the downtrodden rather than the upper class. Let me give an instance. The removal of subsidy. At this moment, when subsidy was removed, some prices in terms of transportation price went up. Even at current reduction in those fuel, in the PMS price, we have not seen a drastic reduction also in the cost of transportation. And this is largely driven by local transport, or both this transport are largely driven by the locals and those farmers. We've not seen a drastic reduction in that. But you and I will not see a drastic reduction in our what we pay to fill our tanks. So you see, it touches the rich, it doesn't touch the poor yet. Then when you look at the floating of the naira, the rich that have more naira, we had more dollars. I've not seen their value in their dollar investment goes up because of the floating of the naira. Okay. But the poor doesn't even have a dollar to keep it. Rather, even the naira they have depreciated in value when you compare it to the dollar. So that, for me, is the challenge. I keep saying that the policies of this administration is one of the best, but challenges is that it will take time to trickle down to the masses.
Indeed. So because throw in the fact that one of the leading global credit rating agencies, Fitch, has actually upgraded Nigeria's credit rating to B from B-. So that's good, and it also described the macroeconomic outlook as stable. Now, stable for who?
When you talk about macroeconomic outlook, you are looking at a lot of factors. Is the CBN really doing what they have to do? Orthodox money policy rate, or cut rate, reduce liquidity, high interest rate. But that in itself is attracting more of the foreign investors, because what it means is that our returns in terms of our bond, our Euro bond and other investment are high. We give them 8%, 9%, which they cannot get anywhere. So definitely, when they look at that, that means you are creating a two-way exchange system. A two-way exchange system is one of the best you could have. That means investors can come in and go out. So they also will see stability in that, because again, when you look at our exchange rate, it has now become, before we were saying, stabilize the naira, so that we can know that this is the exchange rate. But the CBN has even brought a new angle to it. The CBN governor was saying of recent that we have made the naira competitive. So when you make the naira competitive for who? For market forces. But to your people, competitive naira does not help them, because they are not earning so much of that effect. If you even look at those data, when you look at the increase, you look at from 3.02 to 4-point-something billion, it's a little drop in an ocean, because when you look at our foreign reserves, what have impacted this inflow, you look at from private sources, from 15 million to 91 million, it looks like a big jump. But again, when you look at the population via our demand for FX, is small. So that's why we have not seen. And where could drive those demand is in the CBN. But when you look at the CBN, you see that it has even come by half
I was going to ask you
by
about
what they normally earn. And that is just simple, Uncle Yorin. What has happened is that oil price has gone down. Then again, we are not producing so much. So that is the major source of CBN inflow. So that, again, has a negative impact on our overall budget.
This is very interesting, because the optimistic way to look at this might, from somebody who is just an ordinary, it's all right for finance experts, finance professionals, but the ordinary Nigerian who just looks at that and hears that, domestic forex inflow is the highest in 6 years. And he's been hearing commentators say that what we need to do is to, up production so that we can begin to earn foreign exchange. It therefore sounds, before it is explained to him, that we're doing what these people have been saying all this while. We actually are now into production. We're earning foreign exchange. We are domestic. So that is part of the domestic inflow. But that would be a simplistic look at it, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's a simplistic look at it, because again, if you look at those inflow sources that are coming in, you see importer and exporter. So in that space, we did not know, they didn't break it down to who is the importer, how much are we getting from the importer, how much are we getting from the exporter. We didn't see that. they said private sources. We don't know who these private sources are. They're Nigerian from the diaspora that are sending in inflow to their relative here, or are there politicians that have kept the dollars and now releasing it? We don't know. So, but again, when you go through that data, you see that there's a little bit of integrity or transparency. Let me use that word, because before now, to make it sound very, very big, they would have just said, okay, let's see this from $3.03 billion to 4 something billion. They will not just calculate it in naira and tell you that in terms of value, what we're earning 3 years ago is higher now. But again, they won't give you the thing that 3 years ago the exchange rate was not double. But at least with them now bringing it to make it clearer through the dollar inflow, then I think we must give them commendation for that, for doing that. And also, again, we need clarity in some area. Like I say, how much are we earning in export? How much are we losing in terms of import? How much are we importing? Are those imported goods now being charged tariff in dollars? Is that why we get those two together? So those are clarity that we need to get from CBN. But at least we are on a journey, and we started it. So we should keep improving on it.
Indeed, and even though you had said that this was, we have to be careful when we look at this, cautiously optimistic. These are, marginal improvements, but nevertheless, because when you're talking big finance, this a quarter of a percentage point, it accounts for a lot, not to talk of a whole percentage point. And I was just going to ask that, look, there's no way you can divorce this kind of news from President Tinubu's economic reform policies. Whereas, as you said, it might not have translated immediately to the man on the street, but it's happening in there. There's an improvement, and what we need now seems to be critical mass. Once you can get a critical mass, in other words, consistency, and this might lead to a critical mass, then indeed things will begin to look different. But I'm also happy that you explained that it's not exactly a sprint. Don't say because of this positive outlook. Everybody is saying nice things about Nigeria, our credit rating and all of that, but it's a long haul.
It's a long haul, and that's why you see, if you listen to President Tinubu, he keeps saying that Nigeria will thank me. They will thank me.
Thank me later.
They will thank me later because the policy in itself, when you look at those policies, they are policies that should have been implemented 10 years ago. And you're doing it now.
Mukhtar, what option is there to, and here I'm not really talking politics, what option is there to what President Tinubu, he happens to be the guy there now, it could have been anybody that is doing these kind of things after this interregnum. There is no option, is there? Yet, opposition will have to say something.
You can always create an option. President Buhari created an option. He had an opportunity also to go this route. He didn't go that route because he was also not ready to face the backlash of the people like President Tinubu is facing now, in terms of saying that, you see, the policy itself, it takes a strong will leader to take a policy that would drive petrol price from 200 to 1,000. And he was sticking to his guts and said, this is what I think is good for us. So
no wonder they talk about his bold moves.
No, it's a bold reform, even if we have our concerns in terms of what was the structure you're putting down on ground before you put all the reforms.
One moment, Mukhtar. Let me bring on Mr. Durosimi calling in from Lekki. Good morning, Mr. Durosimi. Mr. Durosimi, good morning to you, sir. Mr. Durosimi called in.
This is Mr. Durosimi, AIG retired. How are you, sir? I tried severally to get you yesterday, but no luck. On that, Governor Aliyah of Benue State is facing a great problem because so many conspiracy theories are working against the production of food. The enemies of Nigeria are actually the one on top of the situation there, making sure that our food production states are actually in crisis.
All right.
Plateau, Niger, and Benue especially. Government should actually add more security to those areas. The police should be empowered to do the needful. They always attack during the rainy season so that
you did tell us the last time you retired what, AIG or IG? You are a retired police. Sorry, sir.
On today's topic, it is good.
Yeah, I just wanted to get you. I just wanted to get you properly. Okay. You can't hear.
Tinubu's putting the two things together. That is the foreign exchange system, unifying the foreign exchange system, which makes it more attractive to actually bring dollars into Nigeria. With this policy, more investors will come and more exports will be happening from Nigeria. That the more investor-friendly environment that has been created, we create more jobs. And we need to produce, like I said before, when we make our agricultural products, we must actually work on it, process it before exporting. That will attract more dollars to Nigerian economy. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Durosimi. I tried to get a better understanding of, what I do know that you're a retired police officer, but I did want to get the actual rank. But thank you for calling in all the same. You also managed to put in what you would have said yesterday had you been able to get in. Thank you again. Now, okay, it goes back to that straightforward, simple point that most Nigerians can understand. That is, do business here, whatever it is, add value so that people are buying it, you are earning foreign exchange, you are exporting, because we have to earn foreign exchange. And that's what Mr. Durosimi is saying again. But I think you explained earlier that, well, yeah, that's true on the one hand, but this is slightly different.
Yeah. Like Mr. Durosimi was saying, he was talking about it's more attractive. Yeah, it's more attractive, but again, it will become more attractive if it is stable. It's that the Naira is more competitive. Competitiveness in itself helps market forces.
When you say the Naira is competitive, of course, we are not buying Naira.
That's what I mean. The Naira to the dollar, you see the exchange rate.
Okay.
That was CBN, the exchange rate is competitive.
It's
making it look like...
making the Naira more competitive.
More competitive in the international market.
So if the Naira were to suddenly drop to, if the Naira were to come to something like 200 Naira to the dollar,
they will say it's not competitive enough. Maybe we are defending it. But for that to happen, that means we must be attracting over billions in terms of dollars inflow into our economy.
So the better it gets for us, you say it's not competitive again.
Yeah, it could be competitive, but that also will depend on what we are inflow.
The volume of business that we're doing.
We're doing, because now, like he said, if you look at the Nigerian foreign exchange market, you've seen that it has improved by that report. Also, they say Nigerian foreign exchange market has improved because of more domestic inflow, which is good. But like I said, how much of those domestic inflow can have an impact on the exchange rate?
Okay.
That is the main challenge. But when you look at the foreign inflow, if they come in, like now the foreign inflow, foreign direct investment reduced marginally. So foreign portfolio investment improved. And when you look at foreign portfolio investment, you're looking at Eurobond, fixed income space. You're not even so much looking at the stock market where they come to really invest. Those are the volume that can stabilize your currency. And then with that stability, once your currency is stable, it becomes competitive, because again, that means foreign investors, foreign portfolio investors will want to come to your market because we have a true value of your currency. It will not be fluctuating today or tomorrow. This is the price I entered, and I can exit whenever I want because there's enough liquidity in the system. So we must move from that competitive nature of this currency to its stable nature, just like you said about the Fitch rating.
Yes.
It was B-, now it's now stable. So that is what we should also be thinking in the area of our currency.
Okay. Alhaji Mohammed in Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Well, I want to talk about the insecurity in Benue State.
No, that was yesterday. Sorry, Alhaji. That was yesterday. That's the subject for yesterday. Today, the subject matter is different.
Okay.
The subject matter today is the domestic forex inflow improving to its highest point in 6 years. But well,
if you look at the domestic forex inflow in the level, like you just raised as a topic.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
So I think if you look at the exchange, the State Security and Exchange Commission, and the financial sector itself, we keep on giving people false hope on analysis of what is not obtainable. People invest their money in businesses, and you come out, they will tell you that by so time the economy is going to have a robust investment that will give back to the people, and at the end of the day, you will discover that most of those things are theory. If you come to the physical application, you realize that you are just investing in an economy that is being determined by the government, not the market forces. So I think it is very sad and unfortunate. So we need to allow the exact technocrats to handle those policies so that we will not be telling people what is not reality.
Well, thank you very much, Alhaji Mohammed in Port Harcourt, for calling in. Sorry that, the subject matter of yesterday, you can understand how we don't want it to eat too much into today's program. Thank you for calling in. Now, he's brought something up. And, when we say, we mentioned earlier that on a number of occasions, the president has indicated that, look, I know it's tough, but, history will thank us. History will vindicate us. Well, Alhaji is saying that I hope that is not a theoretical thing, because I don't see anything for ground here.
No, I think, again...
So you're saying that's more theoretical than practical?
You see, when he talked about when you look at the promise from the financial sector, that's what it's called prediction. There are a lot of issues that comes with prediction. So it's not we are predicting this is what will happen, and then comes with a lot of variables that need to make that prediction come true. So I am not of the school of thought that think everything about the current administration policy is bad. Like I said, if you look at the investment climate, it has improved in terms of the competitive nature of that investment climate. Private sector seems to be the key drivers of the Nigerian economy. Gone are the days whereby the president is commissioning project of maybe Ministry of Agriculture, Rural Development, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Solid Minerals. We're not seeing that again. What we're seeing that the president is more interactive with the private sector, because the key driver of your economy should be the private sector. You as a government should create the enabling environment. And I think that's what the president is saying, that we want to create that environment, we want to make it enabling so that you can attract investment. You look at the executive order in the oil and gas sector, that also has been positive in terms of you're seeing more Nigerians are beginning to buy assets from foreign nationals that used to own those assets. You see that Shell have sent some of their assets, Mobi, Ajib assets, to Seplat, Oando, Dubai. So those are positivity. That means you are taking ownership of the economy. You listen to Aligo Dangote saying that we are exporting fertilizer to as far as the United States of America. So those are the positivity in terms of what his policy has brought to the private sector. Yes, in terms of the value, like we say to the masses, it will take time. But it will definitely come to a point whereby you have market forces, demand and supply. You have so much of this supply in the market, and it will crash down the price.
The right things are being done.
The right things are being done. So but the impact is not felt immediately
yet.
Because like I keep saying, this was something that should have. It's just like when you want to conduct a surgery.
Yeah.
If they say you should do it 10 years ago, the pain will be minimal. If after 10 years, if you did after 10 years, you have so much pain because your body is not the same.
Reverend Dominic in Alimosho, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to Mutang.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if Mr. Muta can hear me.
Yes, we can both hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you,
sir.
Okay. Muta, please answer me this question direct. Every time you economists talk about the economy, I'm lost because I'm illiterate in economics. I'm very illiterate. But after domestic inflow, whatever it is, high or low, Muta, I ask this question, what is the impact of IMF, World Bank advice to Africa in lowering the value of naira or improving what on their naira? What is it to Nigeria economy? When we listen to IMF and we listen to World Bank, You are quoting IMF now, one back who say we are doing better. But as a report on my table here, because when you do it, I just double a report. When they say we have to take 10 to 15 years to recover on the fuel subsidy we removed and the coalition of Naira, the same person is telling you that the economy is doing well. The same person is telling us, the same document, that we need 10 years to recover. Do Nigeria have 10 years to recover from this challenge of the economy? We don't need to listen to what answer question. So you answer me. I don't think for we to have good economy, we must listen to IMF and World Bank. We must come to our nation, Nigeria, and say what works for us. Because what Naira and dollar happen in America is not what happened in Nigeria. I'm a pastor. I don't take money, the domestic inflow, lower inflow. They come to beg food. They come to beg food in my office. And I don't know how to say the most. Things are improving. When they cannot eat twice a day, we should leave this inflow to CBN. Number two, talk to our governors. There's a lot of money in the governor's hands today. But it's not taken down. And no governor knows what is inflow and outflow. Why we remove subsidies that governors will use it to implement policies that can reach the poor man on down here? Just like you said it, the oil subsidy is pleasing the rich, which Mr. President is fighting for us. And not pleasing the rich, but the effect of it is worse to the poor. We must find an economy that board of IMF, that board of World Bank, that pleases Nigeria. I don't think IMF and World Bank is pleased with us in 80s. When our Naira is more stronger than dollar. I don't think there's any international community that's happy with Africa. 65 kobo for $1. And they have pushed us now. It is 1,600 for $1. Where will the economy be good with 1,600 naira, $1?
All right.
How is the economy today? How is the economy in the 80s when our Naira is strong? So my question is this, sir, to you as an expert. What is the benefit of IMF and World Bank in advert to Africa, especially to we nations called Nigeria?
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Indeed, we'll let Mukhtar Mohammed, finance expert, stockbroker, take that on when we return from this break. Do please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate facts from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
Okay then, welcome back. Our guest Mukhtar Mohammed, Finance with Mukhtar, CEO and stockbroker himself. And before we went on break, the Reverend Dominic called in from Alimosho, and I wanted to know, IMF, World Bank, why are we listening to them? What benefit are they adding? They've been nothing but killjoys from the point of view of ordinary Nigerians who might not know enough about the matter, because they never seem to favor us when it comes to financial reports.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Reverend Dominic has said, and I've said it time and over that we need an internal solution to our problem. The current policy, orthodox monetary policy, is not really good, especially when we are driving an informal sector. What it means is that when you hike rate, cost of funding goes up, the cost of borrowing goes up, business are not able to expand very well. When you have a competitive Naira, it makes it market forces. And when you talk about markets, the foreigners seems to benefit more. They bring in the inflow of the dollar into the economy. They get out. They are able to buy assets at a very cheap price.
Yes.
But again, you have to look at where are you? Do you need them? As you stand now, you need them because again, you don't even have the resources to carry out majority of your project. And that's why you see the president will say we are borrowing from institutional investors, that are developmental investors that are giving us virtually nothing in terms of interest rate. which is basically a challenge because, again, this is not the government that's going to pay it. You're going to enjoy monitoring maybe for 10 years, and they are gone. Then subsequent government will now come in and start paying those debts. So I totally agree that, in one hand, you try to look at your economy and look at what works best. I'll give you an example. If you want to follow World Bank policy, the current Naira to dollar swap deal in the area of the petroleum sector is an indigenous solution to our problem. If we have left it that Dangote has to buy crude oil from NNPC with dollar, we will not be seeing the type of price reduction that we are seeing here because the exchange rate itself is not stable. So those are what we are saying, that sometimes you look inwardly and begin to create solution to your own problem. IMF is not in Damaturu. IMF is not in Potiskum. IMF is not in Nguru. IMF is not in Abakaliki or in the rural areas in Abakaliki. IMF is not in Bansara in Cross River State. Neither is it in Ikom in Cross River State or Akankpa in Cross River State or even Uyo. I mean even Abak in Akwa Ibom State. So you need to begin to look at, because the rural areas really where most population of Nigerians are, what work for them. They want food on their table. They want to be able to go to farm. What do you do? If you begin to continue to do the IMF orthodox way, it doesn't help them. But again, as where we are now, with the kind of challenges we are now, remember that we are just looking for inflow that can stabilize our currency. That's why they are celebrating this amount of stabilization. It's not that they are saying, oh, this is the solution to our problem. But let's celebrate this amount of, because in the past, we've never attracted something like this domestically. So what it means is that locals are taking ownership of the economy. But like I said, it will not happen overnight. It's a sprint. I mean, it's a marathon, so we need to be patient.
Okay. David in Alimosho is on the line. Good morning to you, sir.
What it means is that locals are taking
David in Alimosho, good morning. David in Alimosho, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. God will bless you, Yori.
Oh, Elder David. Good morning, sir.
I say God will bless you. Are you hearing me well?
Yes, we can hear you well. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much, Yori. God will bless you. You are hearing me well. I'm the one speaking. Thank you, sir.
Elder David, maybe you can help us lower the volume of your television set. Elder David, you help us by lowering the volume of your TV set. That's why we're hearing you twice.
Okay, I have done that, sir. Yes, what this government have done within these 2 years now, we thank God for that. Yes, we don't buy in dollars. Now, I just want to ask a question. Free education at all levels, university level. Then polytechnic. Then we now talk of when you go to other schools, then where you learn work and others. It's free now. Is it dollar we are using there? We must pay this government. And another thing I want to tell you, all the whole thing this government is doing now for the past 2 years, they are physical. We are seeing it. Do you know the president's wife is even doing more job than the president himself? The first lady of every governor today, among the governor, that this woman will go all up and down to empower people from the grassroots, from the local government, and from the world. The farmland we are talking about, they empower them. Their power is the youth. Their power the other.
Exactly.
I'm an old man. I told you I retired in 1998.
You did, sir.
Even
But
if it's only 1,000 they are paying me in a month.
No doubt.
God bless you, but we do the next 2 years. They have done this. What they have done so far is more better than the one of Basojo article that is now with the grouping. Whichever they call him, Director General of BP by that time, Ed Rufai, whether it will be, who always there, who was impeached.
I want to thank you for calling in. Thank you very much, Elder David, for calling in. We always enjoy hearing from you. But today's subject in particular is the news that domestic foreign exchange inflow is at its highest in 6 years, even though it's a marginal improvement, year on year. But it still is the highest it's ever been in 6 years. So our in-studio expert, Mukhtar Mohammed is sort of breaking that down for us and explaining that, this whole conversation, so to speak, it's not a sprint. It's actually a long distance marathon kind of an event. And so whereas it is positive, the impact of it, I beg your pardon, still remains to be seen, but that does, the practical effect remains to be seen, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. Mr. George, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay, then.
Good morning to
Mukhtar Mohammed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Carry on, please.
The way I see this matter, I put Mukhtar that the benefits of the reforms have actually not cascaded down to the people at grassroots. That it ought to go from down up, but it will still come. There is no doubt that it is only what you export that can earn you foreign exchange. As long as what we are exporting is much, we can't get much. This brings me to this issue of Dangote refinery. The man has the capacity to produce the fuel that we need in this country. Why allowing people to use foreign exchange that is so scarce to go and import fuel again? I am not able to understand the logic on Kuyori. If Dangote was not able to have the the quantity of fuel we require locally, it would become necessary to supplement it from imports. But he has more than what we need here. So I don't see any reason why we should be spending foreign exchange to bring in fuel again. You know how much that subject matter takes from this economy? Well, people have been happy that at least we now have a refinery in Nigeria that will not be spending foreign exchange to bring them in. If we have it, we should not continue to use use foreign exchange to bring in petrol again. This is my view. I'm yet to be convinced. I hear economists arguing here and there competition is going to be competitive. It doesn't seem logical to me.
Okay. All right then. Mukhtar.
Well, it doesn't seem logical to him. But again, you need to look at what the issue about the deregulation is. It's free market. If I think I will import and it will be cheaper, nobody's going. But independent marketers and all that, if you look at them, they are buying from Dangote refinery. So we need to make that a field that everybody can play the way you want to play, as long as you are playing according to the rule, and no rule stops you from bringing from importing your goods. Because tomorrow now, if the government said, okay, we stop everybody you buy from Dangote, the same people that are shouting now that, they will say, you are giving Dangote more monopoly. Yes. You are trying to monopolize the economy again, just like he has done in cement. You want him to monopolize. So the government here is saying, let there be a free level field. Let there be the field is there for everybody to play. Like Hausa we say Gafili Gadonki. So let's go and play.
So the ideal case scenario would be for the market to dictate
exactly.
the trends.
That's it. You remember that before Dangote crashed the price, if you follow up the newspaper, most marketers that imported fuel lost a lot of money when that price come down. So it's up. If you pass through now some major petrol stations, you see a long queue. Some other petrol stations, especially from the major marketers, you don't see those queues again. So it's now you decide. Some people prefer to stay in that long queue. Some people don't have. So it's the same thing with the deregulation issue. The government cannot stop anybody from importing. You are free to import your product. You cannot even determine price. If you like, put your price at 1,000. It depends on who wants to buy it at 1,000. When somebody has a price at 860. So
yeah, exactly.
I think it's a good field.
I think that is one of the more visual kind of examples. Because now all of the fuel, refilling stations are posting their prices up there in neon.
Yeah,
so
we don't even know what the price will be tomorrow. You go there tomorrow, you could see the price. Alhaji Aligo Dangote is saying we should wait in the next 2 weeks. There might be a price reduction again. So it's good for us. It's good for that's why people like us have cried for deregulation for over the years, that deregulate this. Look at what the government is saying, that they've saved about 84 billion. Even if we have our doubt about what were really the figure in terms of importation. But if you say you have saved 84 billion, for me, $84 billion is huge.
You know, let's revisit one of the points that George made. He said he didn't quite understand what exactly they are saying, if I understood him well. Because, look, we've said that it's an ideal thing for the market, you know, and this foreign exchange drive to depend on the private sector. We've said it's a desirous thing. But we don't produce enough. Yes, we have some fufu powder and all of these kind of things where you see them in markets in the UK. Are we doing enough of that? And even along the coast, we have the Nigerian goods, exporting from Nigerian manufactured goods. But all of that contributory to our foreign exchange, even if it is just in little drips?
Yes, it is. Like I'm saying, the CBN said the domestic, and they look at exporter and importer, even if they did not give us, didn't break down those numbers. But I think it's contributing now. But like I said, in terms of value, when you look at the value of those imports, you see the numbers, 3-point-something billion to 4-point-something billion. But when you look at maybe if you look at crude oil sales alone, it gives you double that figure. So, so that is the challenge. We have the non-oil sector. And in that report also, they talked about the non-financial sector that have improved slightly from just 1 billion to about 1.11 billion. So those are increment. Like you said it, in economic terms, a gradual shift makes a lot of difference going forward.
Let me bring on Mazio Korafo in Arochukwu. Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, you, Muta Mohammed. Good morning, Sayuri.
Thank you.
Sayuri, you see, when we talk about foreign investors and domestic investors, there are two things we have to look at. Somebody will talk about the environment itself. But the question now is this. You see, in Nigeria today, we import a lot of our raw materials. Now, I'm trying to find out from my brother Mutar Mohammed, how do we solve this problem? Like, let's take drugs we import into Nigeria. The raw materials are being generated from Nigeria. And after generating from Nigeria, they will come here, foreign investors take it back to their country. After taking it back to their country, they will produce these drugs and send it back to Nigeria at a very cutthroat price. How do we solve this problem? Because I think you have to go, because if you check around very well, many Nigerians are going to early grave because they cannot afford such amount of money to buy some of these drugs. I'm using drugs as a key, as a research work now. Because we want to see what we do about our domestic investors. So that those ones we have here now, let the government encourage them. The forest we are talking about, the forest here in neighboring countries is cheaper than our own. But I agree that now you walk into any bank, you can buy any foreign currency at your government's stipulated price. No longer going to look for this bureau de change. That's a very good development economically. But the question 9 is, let us find a solution to solve this issue of bringing in raw materials, importing raw materials to solve certain things in Nigeria. Good morning, Mazu Krafo from Arochukwu. Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Baraka de Salah, my brother. Baraka de Salah, everybody in Nigeria. Good morning.
Thank you.
Okay, Mazi, you said you hit the nail on the head there, but you have to ask yourself, why are there just, it's the cost of production. Cost of production is high. He said about the machineries to finish this product, you have to import it, exchange rates. Those are why you see sometimes it's easier for a businessman to just export the raw materials abroad. They make it as finished product, they bring it here. Because you've seen that when we finish the product here and the one comes abroad, the ones abroad are cheaper than what we get in Nigeria. In sometimes even the qualities are even better than what we get here because of the cost of production. So when you look at the African Continental Trade Agreement, why have we not been able to take advantage of it? Because of cost of production. Because a good that is produced in Ghana will be cheaper when it's brought to Nigeria than that same good produced in Nigeria because cost of production. What is cost of production? You're talking about cost of energy, you're talking about transportation, you're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about cost of funding, like I said, high interest rate, make funding, borrowing very high, so you have to pay for all those things. So those are the constraining factors that's making goods you prefer to just send the raw material abroad and let them bring it in a finished product. So we need to do a lot of that. Just like the president came out with that indigenous game changer in the oil and gas sector, the naira to dollar crude deals, you could also begin to look at the health sector, and which they say, I think they're working on that. They say that prices of some of these drugs will come down when tariffs are not being paid on on these drugs any longer. So it's, like I say, it's an ongoing conversation. There are a lot of game changers. Like this administration said something, and that did not see the light of day, was because we are going to remove tariff on every agricultural input that comes into this country, either to make a product into a finished product or to help in reducing cost of what that product will get it in the market. But unfortunately, that deal has not seen the light of day, even if they say that deal is not have been included in the tax bill that we're expecting the president to sign anytime from now. And that might be why somebody like Alingu Dangote said to the president, if you pass that tax bill, people will be coming to Asu Road to come and say thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, I wondered, as you were speaking, it just occurred to me that all sorts of global, situations affect countries around the world. President Trump in the U.S., who has this interest war going on, what do you see on the horizon? Because all sorts of economists, even in his own America, are angry with him. But I wonder what effect you think this interest rate war how it could affect Nigeria or Africa.
Well, it's already affecting us. Cost of oil is, cost of crude sale is down. At the time Trump came, it was about $75, I mean $78 per barrel. Today it's really getting to 65.
He's talking about America first,
America first.
And so where there were concessions and all that, he says he's cutting all of that.
He's even saying we are drilling, baby, drill more, drill. So they are not even, very soon they say they will not even buy your oil any longer. So those are constant constraints in Africa, because again, we keep saying it, the challenge is that most Africans don't trade with Africans. Okay. We don't have a volume of trade. So most of our trade are with the Europeans, with the Chinese, with the Americans. So if we want to guide against this Trump policy, there must be more trade within Africans. Because most African countries can actually produce some of those things that will run to the United States or other states. But I've told you the challenge is that cost of production.
Okay, indeed.
That is, for me, is the major challenge.
We're going to have to leave it there, Mukhtar. As always, it's so incisive when you talk about these things. Thank you very much, Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar, and a stockbroker himself. Thank you very much, as always, for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
All right, then. So we're going to leave it there. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.